Car dealerships and liquor stores were some of the worst affected businesses during the unrest 2 months ago. Almost 2 months to the day, protests and looting engulfed KZN and Gauteng. The unrest in Gauteng started in Jeppestown in eastern Johannesburg. Ahmed Kajee joins us now. Ahmed, how bad was the impact of the unrest on businesses there?
Good morning, Hugo. I am at the Unicorn car dealership, or at least what once was the car dealership. As you will see, the office block behind me has been completely obliterated and destroyed from the unrest out in July, and it seems that things just haven't come through or recovered for this particular car dealership in and around the Jewel Street area, where things had initially started out 2 months ago. Most businesses are back to operating fully, but it seems that the car dealerships which were burned and were destroyed have just not recovered. This could be due to perhaps not being covered by insurance, or perhaps perhaps insurance not being paying out in some way or format. Let me just take perhaps just walk through what once was the offices here at Unicorn Motors on Jewel Street in Jeppestown. This was once an office block within the car dealership, where most of the administration would more or less be taking place, and what all of this was more or less just completely destroyed. Every single thing that could have been taken, whether it was glass, whether it was office supplies on that front, everything else like that was taken and or destroyed. What you would see as we pan towards our left, you would see a slight doorway over there. That's actually where the bathroom was for this particular office block, and everything in there has been taken. All the piping, all the toilet infrastructure, the basins, that has all been taken out. But I am now just going to pan slightly to my left. You will more or less see that most of the other businesses in and around the area have more or less returned to functioning and to business operations. You will see a car dealership a car wash out there on your left hand side as well. So it seems that things have returned to normal in and around Jeppestown, but this particular car dealership has unfortunately not recovered from the unrest. Hugo.
Oh, but you look at some of the pictures that you are showing us there, and even if insurance were to pay you out, but I think just the heart to come back after so much destruction. I mean, the trauma that it's got to have on individuals, where individuals walk in and loot even sinks and basins, as you speak, has got to be almost too much to bear.
Yes, definitely. I think for many of the business owners around the area, it has been very difficult for them to actually recover in some way or form. To think this entire courtyard was normally filled with at least 10, 15 or perhaps even 20 cars at any given time. So the destruction to property, not just for the owners, but also for car owners who were initially actually trying to sell their vehicles through this particular service provider, that just wasn't taking place. So the trauma to have actually just seen your business being destroyed within the unrest 2 months ago, that should have been something very emotional to get through. And then the financial trauma which follows that. If this particular business owner happened to not have insurance, that is a good few million rand which would be caused in damages, whether the vehicles were covered by external insurances. These are all factors which normally would need to be taken into consideration. Now, away from this particular a car dealership in and around the area on Jewel Street, there is similar situations as well, where most of the car dealerships which were destroyed during the unrest have simply not recovered them. As we mentioned earlier on, that for retailers, there's at least 50 billion rand worth of GDP damage which has taken place since the unrest 2 months ago, with more than 1,000 retail stores such as your Spar, your Macro, your Checkers. All of those were destroyed across the country, at least between KZN and Gauteng. So the unrest perhaps has had a major impact on various sectors of the economy, and perhaps perhaps a dealership like this is just a microcosm and a representation of what many other small businesses would have had to deal with, for those especially who may not have been insured.
Ahmed Kajee, thank you for your time this morning. Ahmed, showing us what remains of what was a car dealership in parts of Johannesburg.